If you have been thinking about gaining a second residence and eventually passport in Paraguay, this video is for you. This is your go-to breakdown step by step of how to make it real. I'll walk you through the temporary residence phase, which is the gateway to everything that comes after. I think that Paraguay is seriously underrated at this moment. While it's a landlocked country, it is strategically placed in the heart of South America. You enjoy warm weather, low costs of living, a stable economy, and a welcoming culture. Here is why I think it's especially compelling. You have affordable living, monthly costs like rent, food, healthcare are a fraction of more developed countries here in the West. Second of all, the tax benefits you don't see at home. Paraguay operates on a territorial tax system, which basically means your foreign earned income stays untaxed. Local income is taxed at a flat 10%. No inheritance, wealth tax, or capital gains tax on offshore assets. Third, most favorite of mine, is minimal residency needs. Once you obtain a permanent residency, you only need to visit every 3 years to keep it. And even then, you do not need to live in Paraguay full-time. So let's go to your first stop, temporary residency. This is your starting point. It's how you legally enter Paraguay and begin the process that leads to full permanent status and then eventually later citizenship, your passport. What you'll need for this? Based on the new rules in 2022, which were updated in 2024, the requirements are quite simple. You don't need a bank deposit anymore, so here is what you need to prepare beforehand. Your valid passport, of course, and make sure that it's stamped on entry. That stamp is going to be quite crucial in this process. You should also bring an apostille birth certificate and criminal record check from your home country or any place where you have lived in for the past 5 years. All foreign language documents must be translated into Spanish and also properly apostilled or legalized in the country that isn't part of the Hague Convention. And you can check this online. As well as anything like marriage certificates, divorce certificates. It's not needed, but it's definitely going to be helpful if you want your Paraguayan ID to show your marital status. Never hurts to bring a bit more paperwork, and never hurts to have an extra stamp. You will also need a medical certificate. A medical certificate is no longer mandatory as of November 22, and this simplifies your paperwork even more. Once you have arrived in Paraguay, you want to head to the Dirección General de Migraciones, excuse my Spanish, to submit all your apostille documents, your passport stamp, and photos. You'll do a quick set of on-site steps like your biometrics, fingerprints, photos, and you need to fill in 2 sworn declarations, one about respecting the Constitution, the other about your planned activities in Paraguay, like work, business, etc. While you're there, you'll get all your legal documents, an Interpol background check clearance, a Paraguayan police record for foreigners, and what they call a vida y residencia certificate, proof of your local address supported by 2 Paraguayan guarantors. And again, excuse my Spanish, it's not a language I'm fluent in. So what happens next after this initial submission? You'll receive your Residencia Precaria, a short-term permit which is about valid for 90 days while all official checks are completed. In the next 60 to 90 days, you should receive your 2-year temporary residence card. This gives you work rights, access to open a bank account, and also the power to apply for your cédula or your national ID very soon after. In total, the full temporary residence steps takes about 3 to 6 months to complete, depending of course on preparation and immigration law at the immigration office in Paraguay. And where temporary residency leads you is, of course, permanent residency. It's your starting block to make sure you can apply for permanent residency, which is about after 2 years, or immediately if you do the investor route. I'll tell you a little more about that in just a bit. What is important is to maintain your status by visiting at least once every 3 years. And that's quite a low amount and low commitment if you ask me. It's also why Paraguay is one of my favorite countries. It really does remove visa hassles and gives you legal footing to work, live, and invest in Paraguay. The residency by investment option, which I briefly introed earlier, because why not skip to the front of the line if that's a possibility? Paraguay offers an investor route via the unified system of opening and closing companies. You'll commit to about 70,000 USD investment over up to 10 years to establish a business. You don't have to put the full amount up front, you just have to show a credible business plan for actual investment over time. Within about 40 to 90 days after applying, you can receive permanent residency. No need for the temporary 2 years wait, which is extremely beneficial if you have the money for that. Additional company formation and government fees do typically run around 14,000 USD in total, just so that you know that beforehand. Family members, like your spouse, your minor children, dependent siblings, can be included under the same application with no additional extra investment. Also one of the reasons why I like this country so much. Once you have permanent residency, the path to citizenship starts. At least if you have that as a goal. After about 3 years of residency and meeting presence and language requirements, you can start your track to citizenship, the Paraguayan passport. After 3 years of holding this permanent residency, you can get this. You must have lived for at least 183 days per year during that period in Paraguay, and also you need to demonstrate basic Spanish or Guarani proficiency and know the local national anthem and history, at least to the level that you can pass the citizenship interview test. Paraguay allows dual citizenship only through reciprocal treaties, currently only with Spain and Italy. If your home country allows dual nationality unofficially, it's rarely enforced. However, I do say you should check this before proceeding, of course. Processing naturalization can take 6 to 12 months after eligibility is approved, and if you're someone who values global mobility, lean tax structures, and low living cost flexibilities, with the option to eventually get citizenship, Paraguay definitely delivers. Hit me up if you want help customizing your document list or planning either route. I'd happy to walk you through it and or your family step by step.